Today on Chat Off the Mat, I welcome Dr. Gina Nick. Dr. Gina is a world renowned naturopathic physician, researcher, and formulator based in Newport Beach, California. She's a leading authority on the prevention and treatment of brain diseases, autoimmune diseases, inflammation, addiction recovery, depression, anxiety, fatigue, weight gain, and sexual dysfunction. After graduating medical school, Dr. Gina went on to become the first director of research for the world's top supplement company, where she was charged with the task of creating and growing the department for what now is a multi-billion-dollar company. Dr. Gina is also the executive healthcare consultant to local and government agencies, president emeritus of the California Naturopathic Doctors Association, and founder and medical director of HealthBridge Newport, where she earned top medical practice. She is here today to discuss the power behind the supplement of glutathione. Welcome, Dr. Gina Nick.
Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Thanks for being here. I'm so excited about this topic. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself first and what brought you to helping people through your product?
Oof. So how long do you have?
I know, right? We'll
It's
keep it
like my
short.
life story brought me here.
Did it? Yeah.
Really, yeah. When I was in undergrad, well, rewind. Since I was in elementary school, I always wanted to be a doctor, period. I wanted to be a doctor and I wanted to learn how to take care of animals and learn how to write a book. And that was it. And then I wanted to tap dance on the side so I didn't get bored. That was it. And I would talk about it. I mean, that's what I'm doing. And so here we are. So I always wanted to be a doctor. And then when I was in undergrad at UCLA, my honors academic counselor said, Gina, I was going the pre-med track, just allopathic medicine, going to become a doctor. And he gave me a brochure for a naturopathic medical school. And I was like,
Hmm.
what's that? Because I was always off, researching nutrition, and I was just very interested in lifestyle and diet and supplements. I was just fascinated by it. And so he gave me this brochure. I researched it. I'm like, what? I can be a doctor, but I can actually like practice what I really feel in my heart of hearts is what I'm supposed to be doing and what I'm most interested in. And that was it. I never looked back, so I ended up going to a naturopathic medical school, one of the few accredited naturopathic medical schools in the country in Arizona. And just fast forward, I was always fascinated with supplements. And so I was always hired by nutritional supplement companies to formulate and to educate doctors on the use of supplements. And then I was hired as the director of research for Standard Process Nutrition, which is one of the oldest nutritional supplement companies in the country
Hmm.
that caters to healthcare practitioners, and they sell their products worldwide. And I created a purification program while I was there that's still in existence today, 20 years later.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that kind of started my whole path on using nutritional supplements and formulating supplements and getting that information out there. And then when I started my own medical practice at a little practice in Laguna Beach, California, and I had one of my first patients was actually a former drug addict.
Hmm.
And I had done all the naturopathic things with him, detoxification and nutrition and all the things, but I'd also given him glutathione in injection form. And he said, of all the things that you've given me, glutathione has had the most profound effect. And so that kind of like stuck with me, And so fast forward, and I got to be known for detoxification, for putting people on detoxification programs, because that was really real passion of mine. And so I was hired by a company who made a form of glutathione that was clinically researched and proven to boost blood levels. And the challenge with glutathione is that it has to be either injected or it doesn't get very well absorbed when you take it orally. And so not everybody wants to get an injection. And there's a form called liposomal that I would use in my practice because that has good data showing it actually does work. But it tasted horrible. So I couldn't get people to stay on it. And I have a nephew who has autism, and I kept telling my sister, you need to give him glutathione, but how are we going to give it to him? Because I didn't want to give him injections,
Right.
and he wasn't going to take this gross liposomal form. And so that planted another seed for me. And I started researching glutathione in my practice and using it with patients. And I'm like, this is amazing. Yeah, it really forced me to do a deep dive into just glutathione. And I realized there's over 100,000 published clinical studies on the use of this master antioxidant. And
Wow.
so like this is incredible. And then I was giving a lecture in London at the International Congress of Naturopathic Medicine. There were like 600 practitioners from all over the world there. And only a fraction of them even knew what glutathione was. And I was talking about glutathione and detoxification and inflammation. And I'm like, that's it. I'm going to make glutathione a household name. Everybody needs to know about this. It's the mother of all antioxidants. It's so amazing for the body, naturally occurring in the body, but it's so powerful. And so I decided then I'm going to do this. And then COVID hit, and I was homeschooling my daughter and going and doing patient visits with all the garb on. No, we didn't know what COVID was, and we were all just freaked out. But I noticed that glutathione was helping a lot. I was giving injections to my patients.
Wow.
And then a study came out saying that glutathione can help prevent a severe reaction to COVID. And so I said, I want to create a glutathione that tastes good, has no sugar in it. It doesn't have any of the bad stuff in it because I'm a supplement snob. Has to be like pure as pure can be, but I want it to taste good enough for kids to take it. And so I decided to create a formula. I sent it to the lab, got it back, and on the first go, it tasted amazing. I had kids taking it, everybody loved it, and that was it. So through a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, I created the company, and we have pixie sticks for kids and for adults.
I
They
love
taste
that.
great. Um, it's sweetened with glycine. So I woke up one morning and I'm like, that's it. I'm going to sweeten this with glycine because glycine is an amino acid that when I formulate products for my patients, I'll just do custom formulas for them. I would often use glycine to
Mm.
sweeten it because I didn't want to use any junk because my patients needed
Right.
the opposite of that. And glycine is one of the amino acids found in glutathione. So it was
Mm.
also going to help with the additional manufacture of it in the body.
Right.
Anyway, so that's that. And here we are. I have a kid's pixie stick, an adult pixie stick, and I really wanted it to be something that tasted as good as candy, kind of got delivered in a form similar to candy, but that was truly good for you and good for kids.
Mm. Yeah, well,
And
packaging can go a long way,
packaging and the
sometimes.
form, like
And
the delivery
yeah,
form,
and the flavor.
the
Right.
flavor. So I was giving it to my patients. I have a capsule form of Best Daily Ever. It's called Formula One. So I was giving them capsules, but for kids, I wanted it to be, in a form that kids could take. And then I thought, well, not everybody wants to take capsules, especially women, like as we go through that menopause phase and estrogen levels go down. A lot of women have trouble swallowing pills.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
now I know why I have trouble swallowing pills.
Well, estrogen's like the hydration hormone. And so, it even affects your throat.
Interesting.
So
Oh,
anyway, I'm like, why not have this in a powdered form? I would like to be able to just put it in my water or just take it, because I
mm,
take it all the time. Right. And so I made it for adults too. Same
yeah.
formula, just a different dosage for adults.
Wow.
So that's,
It's a great story. And you followed your passion and here you
yeah.
are.
Yeah.
And let's talk about what glutathione is. If you can, I mean, I have it here, but if you can just let us know what that is, so we'll circle back to that.
Sure. So I refer to it as the mother of all antioxidants. So it truly is. It is found in every one of your trillions of cells. So it's manufactured by the body. And an antioxidant basically means that it like neutralizes free radicals. Free radicals are toxins that your body produces that are found in the environment. And so you have these antioxidants that bind to these toxins and either render them inactive or help to clear them out of the body. What's so amazing about
Mm.
glutathione is that it is essential for what's called phase 2 detoxification. And so your body's detoxing at all times, 24/7. All your cells are detoxing all the time. And I find that fascinating, that we have this human detoxification system that is so, I mean, it's found throughout the body. There are a lot of different organ systems involved, and our bodies are actively taking toxins and converting them into a form that can get eliminated from our bodies, day in and day out, 24/7. So to me, that says, okay, this is a really important thing.
Yeah.
It's really important to our health and well-being. Well, glutathione is so key to that, to supporting your body's natural detoxification mechanisms.
Yeah, I did a little research and it says that it's produced by the liver, and the liver is kind of like the main organ for detoxification. Everybody's Not everybody, but there's a lot of people who like to do these liver detoxes, whether they're safe or they do them safely, I don't know, um but it is involved in tissue building and repair, right? And helping the body to detox.
Absolutely. And so
Yeah.
your liver is considered like your main detox organ, but glutathione is manufactured in all your cells. It's just
Mm,
there's more in the liver because the liver is one of those main detox organs. But
right.
your skin is a major detox organ, your colon, kidneys,
Right.
lymphatic system, those are all part of the human detoxification system.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
What are some of the symptoms of a deficiency in glutathione?
So, one thing is people who drink alcohol having an intolerance. So, when you have a hangover, technically you can prevent the hangover by taking glutathione. I'm not an advocate for drinking alcohol, it's a neurotoxin. My patients don't like it when I say that to them, but it's true, especially for women. Women have even more difficulty metabolizing alcohol. It's not your friend. However, for those people that do drink alcohol and are particularly sensitive, or they notice over time they're more sensitive to alcohol, that's a sign because glutathione is essential for detoxification. Um, when you have neuroinflammation, so what's
Mm,
that? Inflammation in the brain. So when that happens, symptoms of like long COVID, for example, that's neuroinflammation. You have fatigue, foggy thinking, even symptoms of attention deficit disorder and autism are correlated with neuroinflammation, cognitive decline, even Alzheimer's disease. And so all of,
dementia,
yes,
Alzheimer's.
yes. And so all of these things are tied to neuroinflammation and glutathione. This is interesting. This is a way to know, there's a lot of things that can cause all of those conditions, obviously, right? And those symptoms. But in the brain, there's less of a concentration of glutathione than in the rest of the body. And so it makes the brain more vulnerable to exposure to toxins.
Mm,
Yeah. And so when you are exposed to toxins, it can deplete the glutathione that is in your brain, and that can lead to neuroinflammation. You can even, I mean, there's animal studies where they can produce like symptoms of Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease by depleting glutathione from the, yeah. And so that's why I'm such a huge, taking some glutathione daily to support your body's ability to detoxify and protect your brain, which is more vulnerable to exposure to toxins. And then also inflammation. So achy joints, can be tied to this, what I call
right.
silent inflammation.
Right.
So it's not like inflammation, like if you have a bug bite, it's red and it's inflamed. That's one kind. This is silent inflammation. So it's insidious. It's happening throughout your body, but you can't like pinpoint it to one specific area. It's just kind of generalized inflammation. So glutathione will help lower that. So when you have generalized inflammation, you'll have achy joints, things like foggy thinking, fatigue,
Right.
um, a lot of the symptoms tied to perimenopause and menopause, sleeping difficulties, weight gain in the midsection, mood
Hot
swings,
flashes.
hot flashes for sure, mood swings, those
Mm,
are all tied to that phase. And those can all be associated with less glutathione than your body needs. Right.
mm,
And a lot of people will say, well, look, your body makes it on its own. So why do you need to take it? Right? Like if your body naturally manufactures it, and it has to do with, um, I don't think our bodies have evolved to the point of being able to handle the volume of toxins that we're exposed to. I really, and we don't know the
Mhm.
half of it. I really, my truth is we're exposed to a heck of a lot more toxins than we are aware of. And so that's just a gut feeling and based and paired with a ton of research and experience, as a naturopathic physician over 20 years. And so our bodies have an increased demand for glutathione,
Mhm.
which is the main way that our body detoxifies from all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think that there's a lot more out there that is depleting us on so many levels and that our bodies can't keep up. And you're seeing more chronic issues, chronic pain, chronic fatigue, anything with like people coming up with fibromyalgia or Parkinson's, more autism. So many more of these chronic illnesses that are coming up, and we're like, why is there? Why are these happening? Why is this all happening? Um, Very interesting. I know you do in your book. You also talk about the microbiome.
Yes.
Um, can you talk a little bit about I know also a terminology. People write book about the gut and the microbiome. Can you talk about the relationship between microbiome and glutathione?
Yeah. So the gut microbiome is basically like all of the good bacteria, bad bacteria happening, this whole ecology in your gut, this whole ecosystem in your gut. And so when you're exposed to antibiotics, which can be life-saving, it can
Right,
strip your body of the good stuff too, not just the bad stuff. When you're exposed to certain toxins, that can kill off the good stuff and increase the bad stuff in that whole
right,
gut microbiome. And glutathione helps to offset that. So it helps to protect the gut microbiome from that imbalance that occurs where all of a sudden you have too much bad stuff paired to the good stuff, right?
right.
And so it helps to protect, the gut from harm caused by viruses, bacteria, mold. It's a big one.
Mm.
It impacts the microbiome significantly, and glutathione helps to protect you from that. So,
And is in the gut, they're saying it's like your second brain or another brain,
yes.
but it's also helps with your immune system. So glutathione helps to strengthen our immune system, which can also be affected by antibiotics
Yeah.
and just lifestyle, right?
70% of your immune system essentially is housed in your gut.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. And so glutamine, glutamic acid, is one of the components in glutathione, and that's one of the primary fuels for they're called intestinal enterocytes, cells in your gut. It's what they use to function, right? And so you're basically feeding the good stuff to keep your gut healthy.
Yeah,
So
it's great. And there's also um, a lot of people are now suffering as well from stomach related issues like IBS,
yeah.
uh, gluten intolerance, celiac, all these things that perhaps glutathione can help with or offset or maybe help manage a little better,
Well,
maybe
yeah.
not make it as intense.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Yeah,
it's supporting your immune system. It's
right,
also even for autoimmune conditions,
right.
like, when you say like celiac or like Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which can be very tough to treat, glutathione can help treat that, where there's not
Mm,
a lot of things that can. So can
yeah,
avoiding gluten, but in terms of just helping with any gut related issues, but then any also autoimmune related issues, glutathione plays an important role, you
yeah,
know. And so it's like it sounds like the best thing since sliced bread. But I'm like, it kind of is, you know. And I coined the phrase vitamin G because it's like as important, if not more important than vitamin C. And we all know vitamin C is used for so many things.
right.
It's for immune function, but it helps with blood sugar balance, helps with adrenal gland function. Vitamin C is so critical to overall health and well-being. So is vitamin G, and they actually work together. Glutathione and vitamin C work hand in hand. They cycle between one another, so they support each other, which is
Wow.
why I put vitamin C in the formula also. Yeah.
Oh. So it's a
Yeah.
team. They work together. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember when vitamin C was just like the only supplement. Years ago, I was like, you
Right.
got to take
Yeah.
vitamin C. You got to take.
Yes.
That was it. There was
Yeah.
nothing like maybe there were other things I wasn't aware of, but I mean, I've been around a while, so it's vitamin D, and there's all
Yeah.
these other supplements now, and there's just almost so many.
I
But
know. I know.
it gets overwhelming.
It gets so overwhelming. And that's where at this point, it's like, I wanted to like cut to the chase. Okay, what like if you're gonna take one thing, what would it be? And that's hard to answer, right? Because
Yeah.
every
Well,
human is
everybody's
different.
different, right?
Yes.
I was thinking when you were talking about people who drink alcohol, I stopped. I quit a year ago.
Yeah. Good.
And I'm
Good.
thinking like this can help with people who stop drinking to help maybe alleviate some of this post symptoms that they
Yes.
get and help to detox the body.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And help to repair the liver.
And repair it as well.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
all those people out there that are thinking about not
Mm.
drinking or started not drinking or want to stop drinking, this is something that you could consider taking to help you because it's not an easy process to go through after you stop drinking. Your body just
No.
reacts like in all ways.
And it's addictive, right? And
Yeah.
so, and glutathione is used for addiction. I told you one of my
Yep.
first patients I ever had. That's where this whole thing with me and glutathione started was
Right.
then, you know? And so glutathione is used for addiction treatment. It helps a lot. And so there's more going on than it's just detoxifying.
Right.
It's lowering neuroinflammation. It's helping to rebalance brain chemistry. So you don't have that as much of a need to
Mhm.
self-medicate because maybe you're feeling better, you know.
Right. And depression. There's like that, people with chemical imbalances and with mental illness, mental health issues, perhaps that also can help. Because I know I've suffered from mental health in the past. I had depression and
Yes.
was given I don't even remember what back then what they were called. I don't think they're even marketed anymore or made, but I was told they helped to balance out the chemicals in my brain, which did help,
Yeah.
but then I went off of them because I don't like to be on anything long term. But they were not, they were prescription,
Yeah.
which I would have preferred to have something a little bit more natural.
Something. I founded the Brain Health and Mental Wellness Foundation.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, and glutathione's intertwined with that because I feel like everybody should have access to glutathione, and I know that it helps to lower neuroinflammation and brain inflammation, and inflammation in the brain can trigger symptoms of depression, anxiety, addiction, obsessive compulsive disorder. A lot of your different mental health challenges um, can be helped by lowering inflammation in the brain. And what's really interesting, so there's something called sickness syndrome,
Mm.
where if you have inflammation in the rest of your body, right? So and like there are things called interleukins, there are inflammation chemicals, right? So let's say there's interleukin 4 is circulating in your body because you were exposed to a virus or you had a stress reaction or for whatever reason you've got that particular inflammatory molecule circulating in your body. Guess what happens? Your brain will start to make that same inflammatory molecule that the rest of your body is making. It'll mimic it, right? And the reason for that is probably protective. It's like, oh, okay,
Right.
there's something happening. We need to protect the brain. So we're going to create this inflammatory molecule, which can be a good thing because your body will produce those, your immune system will produce those to fight off
Right.
infection, right? But it goes out of control. And here's what we found was when that inflammation starts to happen in the brain, that's what triggers things like depression, anxiety, so when you get like the flu and you kind of feel down and kind of like you just want to stay in bed, well, that makes sense that the body would be designed that way. It'll keep you away from going out and socializing
Partying.
with a bunch of people and spreading your germs everywhere else, right? So
Right.
it makes sense that you would have kind of a depressed state of being, right, as a protective mechanism to keep you home and keep you
Right.
stationary until you're better. But things aren't balanced. these days, right? And so that inflammation is going on and it's kind of out of control, and you feel depressed because there's inflammation happening in the body.
Mm.
And you'll appreciate this. So what they found was there's something called the vagus nerve, right?
Yes.
Running, yeah. Okay. There's a lot of talk about the vagus nerve now.
Yes.
Well, there were studies done. If you sever the vagus nerve, if you disconnect the vagus nerve activity, okay, guess what? The brain won't make those same inflammatory molecules that your body's making. So it's like that's the connection.
Mm.
Okay. So the vagus nerve. And so then what do? It's called regulating vagal output. How do you regulate vagal output? Yoga,
Right.
qigong, acupuncture, meditation,
Right.
breath work, the things that a lot of people are talking about these days helps to make it so that you don't have as much inflammation in the brain.
Right.
So vagal output is what connects the body to the brain in that way from
Right.
this thing called sickness syndrome.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that's a whole different way to look at mental health issues.
Mm.
It's another thing to consider, if somebody has depression, anxiety, etc. Are we really looking at, is there inflammation happening? And what are some basic steps you can take to lower inflammation? How much does that impact mood? Hormone deficiency will cause inflammation
Mm.
too.
Oh, it
Stress,
does?
yeah, yeah. Estrogen deficiency will trigger inflammation.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So as a woman gets older and the estrogen depletes, or she's on some kind of medication that lowers the estrogen, like I was for breast cancer, then it increases inflammation anywhere, right?
It increases some systemic inflammation. It
Systemic.
triggers the
Wow.
inflammatory cascade in the body.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people don't know that. And that's where having hormone balance becomes important. And also, but if you're on like an estrogen blocker, or, you're going through that perimenopause, menopause phase, and you're not taking something to help balance it out, so you're not deficient, like
Right.
truly deficient in the hormones, something like glutathione that lowers inflammation in the brain can help to offset those symptoms.
Do you know that one of the uh I'm having a brain fog, and I
Yeah.
was just going to say something about brain fog. One of the symptoms or the risk of taking tamoxifen, not risk, what's the word?
Side
Um,
effect.
Side effect, thank
Yeah.
you, is brain fog.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, luckily I'm not on it anymore, but it would have been nice to know about this back then. I think it would have caused, me to have a better brain function at the time. So I will definitely tell my friends who are on tamoxifen about this for sure. Oh, wow. Really interesting. This is
But
a lot of
always I say,
wonderful information.
if you are on any chemotherapeutic agent, always work with your
You're a
prescribing
doctor.
physician. Make sure that they are
Yeah.
educated and know, what to recommend for you in terms of antioxidants. There's some controversy on using certain antioxidants when you're on chemotherapy.
Right.
And
Yes.
so,
Definitely be safe
yeah,
and ask your physician, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Um, I'd like to ask if there are food sources of glutathione, and I only ask this just for educating everyone here. And I know that if you tell me it's broccoli, then we have to eat like a ton of broccoli. But if we could just maybe this will also encourage people to eat their veggies. But if
yes,
you can let us know what some of the food sources are of glutathione.
absolutely. Yeah. So avocados, broccoli, your green vegetables, spinach, peaches,
Oh,
cherries. Those are some good sources. I mean, even red meat has glutathione in it.
mm,
And so there's a lot of different sources in our diet for getting some glutathione. The question is, yes, is it going to be enough? And if you're having symptoms, I always say start with diet. Clean up your diet first,
right. Your
because
diet and your
everything else
drinking.
is going to work better. I mean, you don't have to, but if you want the biggest bang for your buck, address diet and lifestyle first. And then if you're still having symptoms, and you're not feeling 100% and you're wanting to take more action, introducing, if you're going to introduce an antioxidant, I recommend glutathione in a form that is actually absorbed in the body, to help supplement for what you're not getting in your diet or that your body's not manufacturing on its own.
Right. And also, and if you're a type of person who eats a lot of sweets, that creates a lot of inflammation on the body
Oh, yes.
as well. I mean, sugar is an epidemic, I think. Just
Don't get me started on sugar.
I
Yeah.
won't. I
It's
won't. I won't. Another
no,
another
no, but
time.
it's really, I mean, and it's one of the reasons why I made these kids pixie sticks. I
Yeah.
wanted to swap out the sugar, so you see these kids. I mean, I have a young daughter, she's gonna be 12. And it's like when I see what's in the candy that these kids are given, I can't control what's happening outside my home 100%, right?
Right.
You can't. And you have to kind of let it be. But it's horrible. It is horrible what these kids are given. It is horrible what the Grocery Manufacturers Association allows to
Yeah.
be produced that's marketed to kids, because sugar is extremely addictive. It acts on the opioid system in the body. It feeds the bad bacteria in the gut. When you talk about the gut
Um,
microbiome,
right.
alters the gut microbiome significantly long term, and so it feeds the bad stuff. It also competes for binding sites with vitamin C.
Oh,
C is like essential for immune function and works with glutathione. They work together. But just sugar, it increases. Obviously, we all know it causes obesity and things like that, but it also just affects a child's brain
brain. Yeah.
significantly. And our kids need support in that area now more than ever, because they're under more stress with, social media and all the stress going on in the world right now. Our kids
Yeah.
need to be clear thinking,
Grounded.
grounded, focused, and clear on what they're doing here,
Right.
and not addicted to sugar and video games and all the
Right.
rest.
Because that can create the imbalances of the brain, like you said, right? Yeah. And you see a lot of issues that kids are having in school, and
Yep.
I don't know. It's important that we work with the kids because the kids are our future.
Yes.
Um, how does this also help with people who are very active, like athletes, people who work out constantly?
Mhm.
Maybe they're working out so much that they're actually depleting themselves in other areas that they're not aware of. How can glutathione help with maybe recovery or something like that?
Oh, it does help. It helps significantly with recovery. And my athletes see it. They experience it, and so because it lowers inflammation, I mean, it helps to offset the impacts of lactic acid, but it
Mm,
also, I mean, it has such a systemic effect, that it's optimizing performance of the human body. When your glutathione levels are balanced, and things are working efficiently in that way, and your detox mechanisms are working efficiently, your ability to, push yourself athletically goes way up,
mm.
way up. And so it's definitely helpful for performance athletes. They use it too, and it's not a drug. It's
Right.
yeah, but it's definitely beneficial for supporting just endurance and speeding up recovery after workouts.
Yeah. Recovery, especially as you get older. And I
Yes,
know a lot of people who are older and do a lot of things that they want to do that they were able to do when they were younger and they get injured and then they don't recover as quickly and then they get frustrated and create this whole cycle of, I don't know, just this madness within themselves. But this is good to know.
that's unnecessary.
Yeah, it is unnecessary.
Unnecessary. Yeah. Mm.
Um, is there anybody that should not take it?
So I always say, work if you have a diagnosed condition, work with your healthcare practitioner, to before you take any supplements. So because it's always better to partner with a qualified healthcare practitioner, somebody who knows what supplements are and is familiar with using them, work with an educated practitioner. And so I would say, always, if you have a diagnosed condition, to run this by your doctor first, and just make sure it's a doctor that you have a trusted relationship with,
Right.
that has education in the use of supplements,
Yeah.
Oh,
I have an acupuncturist I work with, and
yeah.
she graduated as a um, not just an acupuncturist. Oh my gosh, I'm having such brain fog
That's it.
today. Uh, but anyway, she knows all the supplements, all the medication, and she will tell you like this works for you, this doesn't work for you. And so I kind of I trust that. And she's never really said like this doesn't work, but it's just be mindful of how you're feeling. Like anything, you take something, if it starts to not feel right for whatever reason, you pause or you look at all the other things that you're doing in your life and kind of rule things out, kind of just make sure because you know your own body. And
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. It's like
yeah,
I'm always telling patients, you know your body better than anybody else ever will. You
yes,
partner with experts, you listen to podcasts, you educate yourself, you try things, and at the end of the day, you got to go back to your own source,
right,
and go within and get connected there because there's a wealth of knowledge there about what's going to be best for you.
right.
And so
Yeah.
that helps to guide you to the right practitioners, to the right supplements, the right whatever it is you need to just continue on your path. And so that's
Yeah, it's just like
super
I
important.
didn't know about glutathione and now I do. And now it opened up a
Yeah.
whole new world for me and I hope for my listeners as well. And I want to talk about something that for me, eye health is important. And I've been starting to wear glasses more and I've been starting to think about this. I'm like, do I really need glasses all the time? Every time I go to the eye doctor, they're giving me a new prescription.
Mhm.
Do I really need the increased prescription? And I know I've heard you say or I've read that this also helps with eye health.
Yep, it does. Toxins, when your eyes are exposed to toxins, that it causes like a thickening of the lens
Mm,
and it compromises eyesight. So if you're taking glutathione and there is glutathione in your eyes, you're preventing the effects of toxins on your eyes. And just think cellular damage, right? So keep it simple. Our body's made up of all of these trillions of cells, right? Every one of those cells has what's called a mitochondria, powerhouse of the cell. That's where energy is produced. It's also where the DNA, is housed. And I find when I realized this, I found it so interesting. It's also where toxins tend to congregate.
mm,
They tend to congregate in the mitochondria of the cells where the DNA is housed, and other things. And when they congregate there, they cause damage, right? DNA damage, cellular damage. That causes dysfunction in the body. So when you take glutathione or you have sufficient glutathione in your cells and it's getting into the mitochondria, it's protecting the powerhouse of your cells from exposure to those toxins.
right.
So that any organ in your body, that's
Wow.
going to impact.
And I know, according to traditional Chinese medicine, the liver is associated with the eyes.
Yeah.
So I
There
love that
there you
connection.
go.
And I'm looking to improve my eyesight. So, and it's not too late. 'Cause
No, oh gosh.
something, yeah, it's no, because I'm telling you, I'm so drawn to this. I I I want to learn more about how I can reverse. I think you were on an episode on somebody's podcast, and
Yeah.
I found her, and I'm actually I want to talk to her about being on the show about eyesight and how we can
Awesome.
improve our eyesight. Yes,
Claudia. Yeah.
yeah, Claudia.
Yeah, she's amazing. And
Yeah,
so she's the expert when it comes to everything you can do
yeah,
to help to reverse any issues with
perfect.
eyesight. But the body, your body's always trying to get back to a state of homeostasis or balance. It's
Yes,
always working for you to
yes,
get to that place of health. And yes, you can't, we're all gonna grow up. We're all gonna, that's happening no matter what, right? But it's very doable and very possible to optimize your health as you go on your path so that
I
you
agree.
can have your best,
Best
health,
life,
feel
and
your and
best.
have your best life and enjoy and not succumb to different annoying symptoms all the time, right? Or to be fixated on that. And so just remember your body's always trying to get to that state of balance. Give it what it needs
Yeah,
and remove any barriers to cure. Remove any as best you can. And that's what you go to healthcare practitioners, you learn, et cetera. Remove any of the blocks. Could be a
Right.
trauma block, it could be stress, it could be toxins, but whatever you can to remove any barriers to cure. And then your body is brilliant. It's brilliant, just like
Yeah,
nature is brilliant.
it
Oh,
is.
so
You're right.
yeah.
That's I love that. Um, so as we age as well, a lot of women, we lose collagen in our bodies and we get a little bit of like maybe like wrinkles here and there and we don't feel as good in our skin. Does it help with the skin?
Yes. Well, your skin is your largest detox organ.
All right, you said that.
Yeah. And so it's proven to boost collagen synthesis. It's used at high doses. It can actually bleach the skin, but I'm not an advocate for using high doses of it. But
Right.
glutathione, because it's an antioxidant, absolutely stimulates collagen synthesis and helps to reduce wrinkles.
Well, we love that. We'll put that one
Right?
right up there on our
Yeah.
list.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. 100%. Whatever we
Listen, I'm an advocate for just being out there, being as beautiful as you feel. I mean, everyone's beautiful. We're all beautiful inside and out. And, it's not about the wrinkles, but I know it does bother some people. And
Yeah.
even young girls, I see them and them, oh, I have a wrinkle. I'm a
My
girl, you
gosh.
got time.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, don't let that bother you, okay? Not a big deal. I always say wrinkles are like, they're like wisdom or just laugh lines, just be happy and wrinkles are okay. Um,
But they do have, I mean, it does, glutathione is proven to help
yeah.
wrinkles. I mean,
And, and
it's
and
documented.
collagen also helps even in joint health. I know that
Oh,
we
yeah.
talk about the fascia because I do yin yoga a lot, and
Okay.
there's collagen forms in areas that there's inflammation also, and it creates immobility in the joints.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
you mentioned earlier about the inflammation in the joints, and you get the
Yes.
achiness.
So it helps to lower all of that and helps increase
Yes,
lubrication and collagen's amazing. I mean, you can also take collagen. That's
yeah,
not a horrible thing to do if, depending on who you are and what you can tolerate. But marine collagen is something that some women find extremely beneficial to take too.
yeah.
And glutathione and vitamin C help to stimulate collagen synthesis.
Right. And as you said, just be mindful and don't go out and start, taking a whole tub of collagen in 1 week, you know.
No,
Just yeah, be smart about it.
just take a deep breath,
Take a
exhale,
deep breath. Yeah.
you know, get centered. I am
Yeah.
a huge advocate, everybody, you know your body better than anybody else does. And so allow that inner guide to come through and help you to make decisions on what's going to be best for you.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. Um, is there anything else you wanted to you say children can take it,
Hmm. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Anyone can take. Is there anything else that you wanted to add that I haven't asked about regarding glutathione or anything else that you work on and do?
Well, so with glutathione, there's a lot of glutathione on the market, but it's not absorbed. A lot of so you have to be, glutathione is very unstable. And so that's why it's usually given in an IV or an injection. Um, and so one thing there is if you take it as an IV, there are some experts that say it's a total waste. Dr. Nayan Patel, who wrote The Glutathione Revolution, he's a colleague of mine and we've talked about this and he's like, it's a complete waste. I'm like, I don't know if it's a complete waste, but I will say that glutathione is under tight homeostatic control in the body. And a lot of people don't know that. So more isn't better. Your body's going to reject it. Your body
Right.
has in its brilliance, there are controls in place where if you take too much, it's going to just eliminate it from your system. It's going to get detox out. So sometimes taking an IV of glutathione, he's right in that it can be a waste. And he's a big advocate. He says a lot of it doesn't even get absorbed where you want it to get absorbed because it's glutathione is a tripeptide. It's a large molecule. It's not easy for it to get into the cells, right? And so there's that. I give injections in my practice. And so I like those. It's a little bit of a lower dose and it's not sitting in a bag for an hour because glutathione's unstable, and so there's that
When you
issue.
say it's unstable, can you just tell us what you mean by that?
Oh, well, it can oxidize. And so
Oh,
then it's not
okay.
going to work. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it's not gonna work in your body. Um, you want it in its what's called reduced form. And so then you go to oral supplements, and normally glutathione in a powdered form doesn't get absorbed. It's a waste, you know. And so the form of glutathione I actually use in Best Daily Ever is a specific form that's been researched and proven through double-blind placebo-controlled studies, clinical studies, to boost blood levels and red blood cell levels. And so it's one form. It happens to be the most expensive and the most difficult to get, but that's the form that I use in Best Daily Ever, period. So it's a particular branded form of glutathione. And so you can get glutathione from, China or wherever for a fraction of the price. And so when you go online, you're like, oh, I'm going to just get a glutathione supplement. You have to just be mindful. The cheapest one is not necessarily the best one. The most expensive one isn't necessarily the best one either, so be mindful of where you're getting your glutathione from. Liposomal is a good form. It's just a lot of people don't like the taste of it. I don't like
Right.
the taste of it. And so that's the challenge there. But the form that we use in Best Daily Ever is a specific form of glutathione. So as you learn about it, because even to this day, when I come across new studies on glutathione, I'm like, oh, I need to go take more glutathione. you know, like, wait, did I take my Best Daily Ever today? Because I'm re-inspired all the time. It's that powerful, but just being mindful as you get excited, if you start researching it, be mindful of where you're getting it from.
Right.
So it's not a waste or doesn't cause harm.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, this has been very eye-opening and amazing work that you're doing, bringing awareness to this and creating this product that you have that can help people on so many levels. I will definitely put all the links to how they can get more information, Best Daily Ever, your products, and links back to you and everything about you and your book as well. Yeah, so I thank you for being here today,
Oh,
Dr.
thank you
Gina.
so much. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you. Same here.
Take care.